welcome back to another video here with Angel B Designs. I'm Angel B. Thank you so much for watching. If you are new here, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. So the holidays are just now coming to an end at the time that I'm recording this video. You are a newbie, you just got a new Siser Romeo or a Siser Juliet. Or maybe it's not even the holiday season and you just purchased one and you're looking for some, how do I navigate this new software? How do I navigate this new machine? How do I make a shirt, right? So in today's video, you guys, I'm going to go into Leonardo Design Studio. I'm going to show you the functions, the buttons, the tools, things like that. I'm going to show you how to import your own file that you get from places like either Etsy or Creative Fabrica, Design Bundles. I'm going to show you how to import an SVG and cut it, and then I'm also going to show you how to make a simple SVG with an outline using the knockout method if you want to create one from scratch. So I'm going to show you both of those things inside of Leonardo Design Studio. I'm going to tell you the difference between the free version and the pro version, and then you guys, we're going to go ahead and cut the vinyl with our machine, and we are going to press. So hopefully my green light isn't too light. It looks like it is, but I made this shirt here. It says in my crafty era. Maybe you guys can see this design better. I did do it in yellow and purple. In the video, we'll be making the yellow one. So we're making this shirt from scratch. Well, this is going to be an imported file, but I'm going to also show you how to make, like I said, the SVG from scratch as well, if that's the route that you're wanting to go. So a lot of information is in this video, you guys. So definitely make sure you're sticking around for that. All right, guys, so I did want to start off in Leonardo Design Studio. I wanted to go over kind of the functionalities of some of the buttons and the tools and things like that. Of course, this is for those who maybe just received, it's right after the holidays, you just received a Siser Romeo or a Siser Juliet, either one. Both of those machines, a Romeo or a Juliet, you will be using Leonardo Design Studio. Now, Leonardo Design Studio does have a free version and it has a pro version, which is the paid version. The last time I checked, the pro version is $8.99 a month, or you can pay it yearly. I typically pay it yearly. It's like somewhere around $100, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less at the time that I'm recording this video, okay? So yeah, I typically pay for the yearly, just to kind of get it out of the way. So if you can swing paying it for yearly, I definitely suggest doing that. Otherwise, it's $8.99 a month for the pro version. Now, I would absolutely 100% suggest the pro version if you are just now kind of getting acclimated to the software and things like that. Definitely try out the free version for a little bit, get acclimated with all of the tools that are available in the free version, because once you upgrade to the pro version, you are going to get access to way more tools. So if you are trying to refrain from maybe overwhelming yourself, play around in the free version for maybe about 2 weeks, get acclimated with all of the functions, and then go ahead and do the upgrade so that you don't overwhelm yourself with all of the things that, you know, comes with the pro version versus the free version. Or if you don't care and you're going to YOLO it, go ahead and just jump right to the pro version. It's obviously definitely your preference. So let's go over, I'm in the pro version, so I'm going to go over kind of some of the beginner tools. I'll do some more videos in the future for kind of the more advanced tools like the rhinestone tool and things like that. I'll do some of the basic like the text and how to create an outline or an offset, and then cutting, changing, resizing, changing colors, things like that, okay? So this right here, when you first open up Leonardo Design Studio, it's probably going to take you like to the home page, which kind of looks like this here. It should have your name. It'll probably have like their Instagram page and handles and things like that. You're going to go down here to this pencil that says design. Okay, this is how you go ahead and do your design. Now, I'm going to start off with showing you some of the buttons over here, and then I'm going to show you 2 ways to do a design. I'm going to show you how to import a design that maybe you get from Creative Fabrica or Etsy or somewhere like that. And then I'm also going to show you how to make a simple design on your own from scratch. So we'll do both, okay? But first off, I kind of want to go over these control panels over here. These are your basic control panels. They're going to be open when you open it up. It's not like Silhouette Studio where you can exit out of it. You can drop it down. It has a drop down menu, but it won't go away completely. Okay. So this is your artboard and your cutting mat drop down tool. So this is going to be your media width. Um, if you have, so I have the Siser Romeo, and if I wanted to use a 24-inch mat, I would go ahead and change that here. Okay. I have a 12 by 12 and a 12 by 24, but I don't have the 24-inch mat. But that would only be, again, for a Siser Romeo. If you have a Siser Juliet, your maximum mat is going to be 12 inches wide. Now you can either use a 12 inches wide by 12 inches long, or you can do a 12 by 24, which is a longer mat. Or you can cut matless. With both of these machines, that's the beauty of it. You can also cut matless if you want as well. Okay. So that's where this is, you're going to make that decision here. So you're either going to have the cutting mat, which is here, or you're going to be cutting matless, which is the material roll here. And at this point in time, let's say you are using a 24-inch roll, you would definitely go up here and you would change that to 24 inches so that your surface area will be bigger. Okay, so now this would be like a 24 by 24-inch mat or surface area. Let's say you were using the Siser Romeo and you were cutting on some material that was 24 inches wide and long. That's how you would change it there, okay? I'm going to be using a mat, so I'm going to switch back to the cutting mat. And I'm also going to change my media width back to a 12 by 12 because I am going to be doing 12 by 12, okay? So I'm going to be using a 12 inches by 12-inch long, 12-inch wide by 12-inch long cutting mat with this project today, okay? And then if you do use a cutting mat, this is how you also decide if you are using, you can do, like I said, a 12 by 12, a 12 by 24. They have a 4.5 by 6, which would be like a, something for like the Cricut, oh my gosh, what is that Cricut machine called? The smaller one. The Cricut Joy. I couldn't even think what it was for a second. But they have a whole bunch of different mats. And then you can even do a custom size as well if you wanted to. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stick with, again, the standard 12 by 12 because that's what I'm going to be using. They have these check mark here. You can hide the grid to where it's just a flat surface, or you can have the grid. I personally like the grid. I use it for designing purposes to make sure that things are even and aligned. And now you can have the white background or you can have a dark background. Again, your personal preference. And then the print and cut job is going to be for this will obviously be checked if you are doing the print and cut feature. So with transfer paper, something like that. Today we're going to be using HTV. So we're going to uncheck this because we're not doing print and cut. Okay, now I'm going to drop down the properties menu here, and this is basically your colors. This is where you have your fills, your strokes, your eyedropper tool for color selection, your the thickness of your material. You can change it here. Let's say maybe you're doing something else that would be thicker than like HTV. You would adjust that here. Width, height, position, and mouse hints. So the mouse hints are going to be things like your shortcuts, things like that. I don't particularly use these two. I leave them unchecked, but again, if you want to play around with it, and then this little box, this lock box here is to be able to resize the height without resizing the width, okay? You have your zoom. This is a magnifying glass. This is a hand tool. So if you grab this, you can move your screen around like that. And then this, I'm actually not sure what this is for. I never use it. Okay, so let's talk about some of the tools that's under here. You have your, that's what it is. It's a select tool. So you have your select tool, which is your standard. You want to select something that's on the mat. This, I don't have anything on the mat, so it's not highlighted right now, but you do have some eraser tools. This is the draw tool. So you have the pen, the sketch, and the vector brush. You have your shapes, you have your text. And then these are going to be, I think, some of the more pro features, except for the align. This is kind of a line here, but they're not highlighted right now because I don't have anything on the mat. So I will get into these tools once we start to design something, okay? So what I'm going to do now is the first way I'm going to show you how to kind of set up and cut a file is going to be first with a file that you are importing. Now, if you are new to crafting altogether, you probably haven't learned how to create your own image yet. So you probably are scouring Etsy looking for an SVG or a PNG to play around with, because that's what I did when I first got my machines, okay? So you're gonna go up to File. This is to import. Let's say you found an image that you really like. It's an SVG file, and you found it either on Etsy or Creative Fabrica or wherever, Design Bundles, wherever you got your image from. You're gonna go to File, and you're gonna go to Import, and this is how you're going to bring it into your software. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and select your file. This is the SVG file I'm going to be using today. And then we're going to select Open. And then this is the screen that's going to pop in. It's your import options. So like I said, this is where you would choose print and cut. So this is for like PNG type files, okay? Images, pictures, things like that. You have cut only, which is going to be for your premium vinyl, your Oracle, your HTV, things like that, okay? Things that are going just SVG type files, okay? And then you have editable artwork, which is kind of, it could be like a SVG, but you want to change the colors, or it's just maybe SVG with a little bit more. Here, it says it right here. So this option allows you to load in the file, keeping the fill gradients and pen lines. So you can edit it and turn it into a print and cut logo. So let's say, for example, you have a file and you have gradients in that file, right? Maybe your logo has, you're going, like you have a gradient that's going from like white to purple. It's a gradient effect, and you want to keep that effect. You would select editable artwork, because if you do cut only, it's going to be a solid color. So that's kind of the difference. For this file, we're going to go ahead and do cut only. We're using HTV, and then I'm going to select next. Now, this is the color count. This basically, it takes all of the colors and it will separate them. So these are the 4 colors that are in the file. You can select to include the alignment marks. If you're layering the colors to create a colored shape, adding alignment marks can make it easier to reposition all the colors in the correct location. And I'm not gonna do that, but I guess that would make it a little bit easier. For example, so they came up here. Basically what that does is every single piece that's going to cut out on the file is going to have these marks here. So if you are, when you're layering, which this is a layered file, when you are layering, basically the option or the point is for you to line up these points when you're pressing each layer. Those are supposed to cut out of the vinyl as well. So when you're pressing each layer, I believe the point is to be able to line those up so that all of your layers are even. I don't ever use this, but if you see value in it, definitely give it a try. And then you have the fill lines. I'm going to go ahead and leave that unchecked. That's a personal preference. I don't need it. Then I'm going to go ahead and check apply. And that's all that it is. When you're bringing in kind of a print and cut, there's going to be a little bit more. There's going to be masking, contouring, and things like that. I'll save that for a different video because it's a completely different operation, and I don't want to overwhelm you in this particular video. Okay. So this is the size, or this is the file here. That's how you import a file. And I made this. I'll make sure I leave a link for it down below. It's available in my Etsy shop. But this is basically just how you import an SVG that you want to cut from HTV or Oracle vinyl or whatever the case may be, okay? The sizing of this is 11 inches wide, which is a good size. I like that, and the height is 9.311. Now, of course, if you wanted to change that, you can either use these markers here to do so, or you can do so here and just type it in. Okay. So I'm going to go on over to Send Design. And then you have this screen pops up. So Send Artwork Options. These are the options. You can do all artwork that fits on the page. And then you can also select Don't Separate by Color, because when you get to the next page, it is going to automatically separate your mattes by each color, kind of the way that it does in Cricut Design Space. If you don't want that and you want to be able to line it up all on one mat, you can check this. I'm going to go ahead and uncheck it just because it's a little bit easier, because I am using a whole bunch of different colors. And then these are the positioning options. So you can move each layer to its original or to move each color layer to origin. You can keep relative positions of each layer, or you can use the current mat location. And then this button is the allow weed margin. I'm going to leave this unchecked. I am going to put select move each color layer to origin. That is basically meaning that on each color mat, it's going to position each piece of artwork in the bottom corner. Okay. And then I'm going to select send. So I do already have mirror checked, but if you haven't gotten to this screen before, this is how it's going to look when you get to this next page here, okay? And this is what I meant by it was going to have everything down at the bottom corner. It's going to position it down here at this bottom corner. And then you have another menu here. So you want to make sure you're connected to your machine. I'm using the Wi-Fi connection. Again, the cut properties are the same as what we chose on the previous screen. And then you have to make sure you select your blade. I'm using my standard blade and I want to use my cutter settings. Now, if I uncheck this, you can put your speed and your force here on the software. But for me, because I don't want there to be any kind of, like if the Wi-Fi drops after I've sent this to cutter, I want the machine to be able to continue the cut. So I'm going to use the cutter settings. That way the communication doesn't get dropped if for whatever reason in the middle of my cutting machine cutting, it'll continue the cut. Okay. And we are doing HTV, so you want to make sure that this mirror is checked. Mirror would not be checked if you are using premium vinyl, Oracle vinyl, things like that. Okay. And then you have the option to do the auto weed box. I do use this box when I'm cutting rhinestone flock, not necessarily when I'm cutting vinyl, just because I do believe it's a little bit wasteful. But you can add an auto weed box, which is basically it'll be a box going around your image that you would have to weed as well. But I don't see value in that when you're using vinyl. Okay. Now, when I'm lining up my vinyl, I like to kind of pull it away from the edges a little bit, just in case I don't line up my vinyl right on the edge all the way properly. I don't want my image to get cut off. So what I do is I do pull it like this one here. Do you see how it's right on the edge? What I like to do is make sure my image is selected, and I just kind of pull it away from the edges just a little bit, just to make sure, like, if I don't get it lined up 100%, I don't get anything that's cut off, okay? Again, I'm going to move it. Now for this particular one, it is cutting in the same color. And because I don't want to waste all of this vinyl in between these two words, I'm basically going to just bring this down. That way I'm not wasting as much vinyl. And then you can just cut in between these two and layer them by hand. And I will show you how to do that once we get over there. And then same thing, I pulled it off the edges. And then for this one, same thing, I'm just going to pull it off the edge. And this is how I cut. Okay, so this file and this file are going to be glitter. And then this file and this file are going to be puff. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the design because I want to show you how to quickly kind of create your own design as well. So I'm going to go back up over here to the artboard. I'm going to select the cutting mat option because I'm going to be using a mat. And then I'm just going to go over here and grab some text. That's what this letter T is for. It's for your text. I'm going to be using Banana Cupcake. I do believe I got this font from Creative Fabrica. Now, uploading fonts, there's no specific button within Leonardo Design Studio that you particularly have to use or push to upload your font. You're going to make sure that it's basically, if you are coming from Cricut Design Space, it's the same way. If you're brand new, I'll quickly go over that. So you want to make sure that Leonardo Design Studio is completely closed out, okay? Then you're going to go to, let's say you're using Creative Fabrica to download the font. You're going to download that font. When it goes to your computer, you want to make sure that you go to download and then you're going to go to install for all users. Now, that option looks different for a Mac or a PC, depending on what you're using. I don't use Macs, so I'm not really sure the exact verbiage for a Mac, but I do know it's basically the same. It's going to be install for all users, something to that effect. Once you have installed it for all users onto your computer, you open Leonardo Design Studio back up, and then it should be under your text. So again, the same way as Cricut Design Studio, and then I believe Silhouette Studio is the same as well. Now, if you have all of your softwares closed, let's say you have Leonardo Design Studio, Cricut Design Space, and Silhouette Studio, and you have them all closed out and you download one font and it says install for all users, when you go to open up Leonardo Design Studio, Cricut Design Space, and Silhouette Studio, that font will be in all three softwares. That's why you want to make sure you install for all users. Okay. So again, this is Banana Cupcake, and I got it from Creative Fabrica. And then I'm just going to kind of quickly type in my name. Okay, so super simple. We're going to go ahead and push apply. And then I'm just going to go ahead and resize that to about 11 inches. Okay, now let's say you want to add an outline, right? So to do that, you want to select, make sure that the item that you want outlined, so this is equivalent to like an offset, make sure that is highlighted. And then we're going to go down to this button here where it says build contours. I have Design Studio Pro. So this button is actually for the line fills, and then they do have a rhinestone panel as well. But we're going to go to the build contours, which is this star here. Now we can add a contour to our print and cut logo. We are doing a cut only file. So you want to make sure that editable contour, which is the cut only, is selected. You obviously want to make sure that you include the holes because you don't want these little black spaces here. So we're going to check that. And then here's your offset amount. So this is how you make your offset bigger. Or if you want to do an inset, which is basically an offset on the inside of the letters, you would do that here. And then you can also change your corner style from round to sharp. Now, because this text is so curved, there's no difference between the round and sharp. But if I was using something like maybe Arial, then you would be able to tell the difference. These edges here would be sharp versus rounded. Hopefully that makes sense. And then you can change the contour color if you want here. Bring to front is just going to be, I'll check it to show you. So the text that we did was pink and the offset is black. If I select bring to front, it's going to bring that black offset to the front. Okay, that's all that it's going to do. And then we're going to go ahead and select apply. So now our text has an outline. Now, when you're doing things like layering vinyl, so for instance, puff vinyl with glitter, the way that I layer it, if you want to be able to do that, I've always said you want to make sure that you use the knockout method. And what that means is if you take this pink text and you move it, let's say, for example, you wanted this black outline to be glitter and you wanted this pink inside to be puff vinyl. If you see here, your outline it's a solid fill, and you don't want that. You want your letters here to be on the inside of the black letters and not on top of them. So right now they are on top, and you do not want that. So I'm going to make sure everything, both the offset and the pink layer are both highlighted. And then I'm going to go over here to the space objects button. We're going to align center. And we're going to align center up and down. So align center left and right, and align center up and down to make sure it's nice and centered. The next thing I'm going to do, you have this weld panel here. I'm going to go to the weld panel, and inside of there we have some other options. We have remove front, which means it's going to remove Angel Bee in pink, and anything that Angel Bee is touching will all be removed. And let me show you what that looks like. So if I select remove front, it removed Angel Bee in pink, and it removed everything that Angel Bee in pink was touching. Okay. So let me go back. This one is going to be stamp keep. So Angel Bee in pink is going to basically stamp out the black outline, and it's going to keep the pink Angel Bee words as well. Okay, so again, let me show you. You push stamp keep, it looks like nothing happened, but if you select the pink and you move it, everything that the pink Angel Bee was touching has been removed. This is also called the knockout method when you are layering your vinyl, and that is how you achieve it. You use the stamp keep, which is equivalent to the slice feature in Cricut. Okay. Also the same as subtract in Silhouette Studio. Okay. So this is how you do the knockout method. So now if you were to layer the pink puff vinyl with the black glitter vinyl, instead of it laying on top of each other like this, it's inside of each other like that. Okay, and that's what you want. So that's how you do the knockout method there. Okay, so that's how you kind of create. I just wanted to quickly show you how you would create an image. I'm going to go ahead and get this ready to cut out. I'm going to meet you guys over at the Siser Romeo, and we're going to get this cut out. I'm going to show you the two different vinyls we'll be using, which is glitter vinyl. If you are a newbie, I'll be showing you the glitter vinyl, and I will be showing you the puff vinyl that we'll be using, and then I will talk about my cut settings as well. So I will meet you guys over there. All right, you guys, so here is the Siser Romeo here. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on. So the major difference between the Siser Romeo and the Siser Juliet is obviously going to be the size. This one is a 24-inch cutter. The Juliet is obviously smaller. The Juliet does also have a cover that comes down. The Siser Romeo does not. It's this face here stays open, where again the Juliet does have a it's a piece that closes. Those to me would be the two obvious major differences. As far as like the mechanics, how it cuts, things like that, the type of blade that it takes, all of those things are the same. The cut settings are the same as well. Okay, the difference is going to be the size, and it's going to be the I can't remember what the thing is, but it closes over it. Okay. So there's a couple different ways that you can load your Siser Romeo. You can either load it in the front this way, the way that you would do a Cricut, or you can load it from the back. I personally prefer to load it from the back. That's just my personal preference. I find that to be the easiest. Okay, when you are loading your Siser Romeo, let me see if I can bring it in and show you. There are these arrows here. When you bring in your mat, whether you're loading it from the front or the back, your mat you want to have that aligned to those arrows. Okay, and then you're going to close your rollers. So while you're loading it, your rollers, which are these here, are going to be open. When you're done loading, with them being open, you see you can move your mat back and forth. And the lever is back here in the back. Okay, I've just closed it, which has secured my mat. So now I can't move my mat. Once you have those rollers closed, you have your mat lined up, you want to use these arrows here on your machine to align your mat and your blade. So you want to line your blade up where you want it to start cutting. I want it to start cutting up here in the top left corner. That way we don't, waste any vinyl or anything like that. Okay? Let me go ahead and set you back down so I can start cutting. Sorry it's a little shaky, guys. Hopefully I didn't make anybody too dizzy. Typically when I am cutting, I want to make sure that I do an area test. An area test is basically, it's going to show me where that blade is going to cut on my vinyl. That is to make sure that everything is lined up. So I'm going to push area test on the software on my laptop. And the blade is going to outline where it's going to cut. Now, I don't know if you saw, but the blade went a little bit off the page. We don't want that, so I'm going to just adjust it. Do a center cutter again. And it's still a little too far off the page, which means I need to move my blade over a little bit more. And then I'm going to do one more area test just to make sure my blade stays on the material, and it does. So on my software, I'm going to push center cutter, and it will begin cutting. And the cut settings that I have are the glitter settings. The Siser Romeo and the Siser Juliet do come equipped with some preset settings. With that being said, you can obviously adjust them. You can definitely adjust them if you want to. So if you want to use the ones that they have pre-installed, all you have to do is select the glitter option under HTV and then select start or center cutter. If you want to adjust them, you would just use the arrows to adjust your force and or your cut speed. Today I am using cut speed 10, force 40. Now the reason that I am using 40, when you first get your machine, your preset is going to be a little bit lower than that. I think they have it preset to maybe 20 or 25. Mine is on 40 because my blade is a little bit older. My machine is not brand new. And I do cut a lot of rhinestone flock, which dulls the blade pretty quickly. So that is why mine is up. But again, you want to make sure you're doing some test cuts. You want to make sure that you are testing out your vinyl just to make sure that you get that right speed. For the speed, actually, I would say keep it on 10. I have heard Patrick from Siser say keep it on 10 just because you don't need it to be on 13 and you don't want to blow out your motor as quickly. So leaving it on 10 should be fine. It's the force that you're probably going to be adjusting the most. Okay, now this is the glitter. So for the yellow glitter, for the red glitter, I'm going to use this exact same setting, this exact same mat, this exact same method. For the puff vinyl, I am just going to drop my cut settings down to, or my force down to 35. But I'm going to still use 10 speed. So I'm going to get all layers of my vinyl cut out, and I'll come back when we're ready to press. Alright, so I do have everything cut out, and we're going to go ahead and start pressing. I have a Gildan Soft Style. This is a yellow colored shirt. So I'm kind of doing like a tone on tone type thing. This is the first layer here, which is the Siser glitter in the color Lemon Sugar. You guys, I will make sure I leave everything linked down in the description box. Now my heat press is set to 280 degrees. Right now it's on 10 seconds because this is the first layer. If you're a newbie, if this is the first layer, because I'm pressing this multiple times, pressing it the first time for 10 seconds is going to be fine. We're just tacking it down. We are going to press this 3 more times. So essentially, because we're going to press this first layer 3 more times to add in all of the other layers, this vinyl will get the amount of time and temperature that it needs. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and peel it, and that looks so good. This yellow on yellow. Alright, the next layer is going to be our glitter heart. The reason I am pressing the glitter first, well, one, this is our outline. We had to put our outline down first so that we can layer in our pieces. But I'm pressing the glitter first because the glitter can withstand more presses than the puff vinyl can. The next 2 layers are going to be our puff vinyl, which I only want to press 1 to 2 times per layer. Okay, and then we have our glitter heart here, and this is just regular red Siser glitter. Now this is the in my error. Remember when I told you that I moved the 2 pieces closer together to not waste as much vinyl? This is what it looks like. Obviously we can't line it up like this now. We're going to have to cut here, which is fine. Cutting it is not a big deal if you're not wanting to waste your vinyl. If you don't mind wasting the vinyl that would have been in between these two words, these two layers here, then it would have lined up perfectly. So at that point, it's just your personal preference on how you want to handle that. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead. This is the puff vinyl. So what I'm going to do, the puff vinyl time and temperature is 280, which is why we're on 280, and it's 10 seconds. So that was the reason for this time and temperature, was to accommodate the puff. I am adding a pressing pillow underneath my shirt to create that firm pressure that we need for our puff vinyl. You can adjust your pressure with your actual press, or you can just add a pressing pillow to your setting that is medium pressure. Your personal preference. I find that this is easier, so I don't have to actually adjust the pressure on my heat press. But if you don't mind adjusting the pressure on your heat press, then you don't need the pressing pillow. You just need firm pressure. So we just press that at 280 degrees for 10 seconds. And this is the, I believe it's the mustard color. With Atlanta Vinyl is the name of the brand. Again, you guys make sure you check the description box. Everything will be linked down below. That looks really good. You guys, I'm going to show you a close-up once I'm done pressing all the layers. So that was the first one. And now we're going to press the word crafty. This is in the neon yellow. Same thing. Firm pressure, 280 degrees for 10 seconds. Now depending on your press, I did not cover my other two layers because with my press they don't scorch. If you have a heat press that tends to get maybe hotter, on the hotter side of things, then you may want to cover it with like parchment paper. With my Ricoma, I don't necessarily have that problem where it scorches my vinyl, so that's why I didn't have to cover it. But we are all done. So let me kind of show you a close-up. Hopefully you guys will be able to see. I know my ring light isn't kind of helping at all. And then I also did the tone on tone. Okay, so we have the lemon sugar glitter on the outline. We have the mustard on the words in my and era, and then we have crafty in the neon yellow. So hopefully you guys can see it. Okay, so hopefully the tips and tricks I gave you in this tutorial helped you be able to kind of navigate your new Siser Romeo or Juliet. You guys, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, drop them down below. Anything I didn't cover, again, this was a very beginner video. I do plan on doing some more like a print and cut operation type video for the newbies that just got their machines and things like that. Any other questions I missed, you guys definitely make sure you drop them down below, and I'll either answer it in the comment section or I'll do a video for it. But that's all I have for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. Until next time. Bye, guys.